Good morning, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana here, and today is Casing Tuesday. And I'm going to wait for some of you to get on with me. And if you're watching this as a recording, please feel free to skip ahead. I talk a little bit at the beginning of my video and then again at the end. So today, I live in the Boston, Massachusetts area. And we're kind of it's a beautiful spring day. It's not too warm, but it is a little gray. My daffodils are all out in the backyard, so it's kind of nice to look out towards the river here and see the daffodils in bloom. So I hope you have some things blooming and budding. It's a little bit of course, it brings with it allergy season, but I love looking at the beautiful flowers. So hopefully allergy season won't be too bad for everyone this year. Good morning. I see a few of you have popped in here, so I'll get started. So today is Casing Tuesday, and that's the day when we take a card out of the catalog and we give it a makeover. And you can copy the card exactly if you wish, or you can give it a total makeover with new stamp sets, new paper, whatever you want to do. And we do a specific card each week, and we have a Facebook group for that you are welcome to join in. And each week we seem to be growing our little group. We have over 3,000 members. Not everyone posts, of course, but it's really great to see all of the posts each week. Last night I went in and I looked at all the cards that were posted in the previous week, and they were just beautiful. So thank you if you post on our group. Thank you so much for that. So this week we are doing number 299. And I know my dear team member, Catalina, would be smiling down from heaven to us because she passed away about a year ago, and but we're doing number 300 next week. So I just want to let you know that next week we're going to do something a little special. So we are going to do a drawing from everyone who posts next week, not this week, but next week, and we are going to do a bit of a card shower. So everyone in our blogger group will pick one person who posts a card for next week's challenge, and we are going to the blogger group we're all going to send that person our card for the week. So it will be a bit of like a card shower, and I know Catalina would appreciate that because she loved stamping. Stamping was her happy time. Her escape. It was, I think, one of the few things that she did for herself because Catalina was a very caring person, and she took care of everyone around her. She took care of her mom until she had passed away just shortly before Catalina. She took care of her siblings, and stamping was her escape. And I know that's what it's like for us, for many of us. It's like our little art escape, right? And it's such a nice little art escape because in a matter of an hour we can have something that's really beautiful, or even less sometimes, right? But we can usually create something in a short amount of time, and it's beautiful and it speaks to our heart. And I know that's part of the reason Catalina started this. She was actually the one that decided, she had a blog and she wanted a regular blog post. And so what she was going to do, she wanted to actually copy things exactly. And that was easy to do when you had just one person picking the cards. But we decided, I asked her if I could join in. So in her second year, I joined in. So I've been doing the cards not quite as long as she had done them, but I jumped in kind of part way through at the end of her first year, and I started doing it with her. And so we would alternate picking cards, and then we grew the group, and now we've opened it up to so many different people, and we have our bloggers group, and we have Lori who welcomes all our new people. So I'm just so grateful and thankful that Catalina's legacy of her love of her hobby carries on. And so on the 300th next week, we're going to do a little card shower for one lucky person. But it will be fun to see all the cards that get posted that day. So I am looking forward to next week. But let's get started on this week. And let me show you, I love this week's card. Let me unveil it. This is a really nice layout for beginners because it's got some really nice defined layers that you can use. And look at that background paper. Isn't that gorgeous? I love it. I think you could pop in any background paper and it would work wonderfully with this layout. And then just put a greeting on the side. And that is exactly what I did. I just used different paper. So here is the layout. Nice and simple. Those are approximate layer sizes. If you want to change a little bit, absolutely you can. And you can drop a layer if you want to. So this is just kind of an idea of a starting point, especially if you're a beginner and you don't really have a feel yet for what the measurements are. This is really going to help you. And this is also posted over on our group. Okay. So let's get started and let's stamp this card, and I will talk to you all at the end. So if you have comments and questions for me, I will pop back and talk to you all at the end. So let me make sure I got my other camera going. So this is the card that I made. Isn't it beautiful? And I guess I can't really take too much credit for stamping because the only thing I stamped was the greeting. But the paper that I'm using is called True Love. And the True Love paper has like kind of geometric patterns on one side, and then you flip it over and it has florals. So these florals can be colored. I mean, it makes for really great paper because it's very versatile, right? So, you've got all these different florals and then geometrics on the other side. It's wonderful. My favorite sheet of paper out of here is this one here that has these florals on the one side and this pattern on the back. I like both of these patterns. I wish they were on different sides because I like this pattern as well. But I'll show you in a second how I colored that piece of paper. I'm also using the Peaceful Moments stamp set. And this stamp set has some really nice greetings and a really nice font. So it's a great sentiment stamp set. So if you're still looking for one that you can use for many different occasions, this one's a really good one. All right, I think we are ready to get started on this card. So let me grab the piece of paper, and I'm not going to color. You notice here I kept some of these black and white because I think it makes the whole thing look a little bit more striking when you don't color every single floral. And I didn't color the leaves, I just colored the flowers. So I'm going to use my Highland Heather blends, and I think, oh geez, I don't know if I used the light or the dark. I'm going to start off with a light and we'll see, because I just used one color on these. There is quite a bit of shading on these flowers, so it does all the work for you. So when you have this, have a look at which florals you want to color. Depending on how you've cut it, you're going to have a different floral. This piece is 3 inches by, I think it's 4 1/4. Yes, it's 4 1/4. 3 by 4 1/4. So I'm gonna pick these florals right here to be my coloring ones, and I hope I use the light on here. We'll see in a moment if oh, you know what? I don't know if I had the light or the dark Stampin' Blends on here. I may have used the dark, because this one's looking rather light. That's okay. We'll just see how this looks. And if we think it's too light, we can always darken it with the dark, or we can do some shading. Yeah, I think I did use the dark. So I'm just trying to omit the leaves right here. I'm using my brush tip on the side so I don't break down the tip. And you can use whatever color you like. I use purple a lot because a lot of florals are purple, and Highland Heather is one of my favorite purples. It's not too dark, not too light. And I debated whether or not to do a little bit of yellow blends in the center of the flowers, but I decided I'd stay with a more monochromatic look. You know what? I think I'm going to keep these in the light mode, and we'll see which color we like better after I've got them all kind of put together. So I think those are all the florals that I'm going to color on those. I had 3 to color here, and maybe I'll just do 2 here, and we'll see what that looks like, see if we need to color a little bit more. Okay, and then I'm going to mount this on a piece of gold foil sheet, and this piece measures 3 3/8 by 4 5/8. So I'm going to use Tombow for that. Look, and it bleeds through to the back. And the blends really saturate paper. So I'm going to do this and add it to the gold foil sheet. And then I'm going to take a piece of gorgeous grape cardstock, and this measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Yeah, just wanted to make sure I cut it to the right size. I grabbed it this morning because it looked like the right size, and let me grab my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, because we're going to emboss this back piece with the Painted Texture embossing folder. And this one's a great embossing folder because it makes it look like handmade paper. So here we go. This is the Painted Texture 3D embossing folder. And we'll just slip our little piece inside of here. Okay, so for embossing folders, let's get rid of these plates because this is a thicker embossing folder, and we're going to get rid of number 2 plate because that's for dies. So we're going to start on number 1, which is our base plate, and put in our embossing folder with our cardstock. And then because it's a thick one, we're going to use plate number 4 on top. And then we're going to run this through. If you're ever coming through, so you can see right here, I've got my crank handle that I'm cranking. If you ever feel your sandwich is like too tight, you need to stop and reevaluate. If it's not going through properly, like easily like this, then you probably have your sandwich wrong. So stop and take a look, okay? Because this one doesn't have any clear plates. It just has the base, the embossing folder with cardstock, and the gray plate on top. Sometimes when I'm rushing, I get that wrong. And I'm like, that's not quite right. It's not going through. And look at that gorgeous texture on the paper. It looks like I hand made this paper. So just a really easy step to creating a lot of texture. Okay. And then we've got our card base. This is thick Whisper White, and I've cut this piece to 11 inches by 4 1/4, and then scored in half at 5 1/2 inches. And grab our glue. My bottle is almost at the end of its lifespan. Time to get another bottle. I always have like a few new bottles like sitting in reserve because I never want to run out. Oh, but I also like to use every drop. Okay, we are adding this to the front of our card base. Line it up. Glue it down. And then we're going to, I'll just leave this here for a moment. Let's do our greeting so we can see where we're going to put the greeting on here. So we might want to twist the florals around to see once we've got our greeting. So to make our greeting, I've cut a piece of cardstock. This is just regular basic white, and this is 3 1/8 by 3/4 of an inch. And I'm using the Lovely Labels Pick-a-Punch. I'm going to open this up and I'm going to slide it, and I'm going to use this one. And sometimes I cut the 3 1/4 inches and it's just like a little bit over 3/4 of an inch. So what I do is I stick this in to my punch and then I press down. You can maybe see I've almost dented it a little bit, and that it helps center it, but it also, if I cut it just a little bit wide, it works well. So I'm just gonna punch that and then lift it up and do the same for the other side. Get it in almost all the way, kind of curve it into the space, and then give it a punch. All right, and that will be just the right size for my greeting. And I'm gonna use congratulations. I have some team things to send out, and I need to send some congratulations cards, so I thought I would make this into a congratulations card. So this is my gorgeous grape. I could have also stamped in black, but I went with it's a purpley card. And I'm just gonna add this onto here. Okay, I really love greetings like this because they're very scripty, and if you're a little bit off, if you're a little bit crooked, it doesn't matter because the greeting is a little free-flowing anyway. So I love greetings like this because it makes stamping a lot easier because there's not really a real flat bottom on it. So if I put this here, and then I'm going to add ribbon, yeah, I think that will look nice. So let's go ahead. Sometimes it's good to not lay everything down. See, I have another bottle here. Let's see if this bottle is any better, or if I need to break out a new bottle. This bottle hasn't been used in a while, so let me see. I'm cleaning it out with my paper clip. All right, that one's working a little better. Oh, I spoke too soon. All right, so I'm centering this. I love when I can center something because that way it takes the guesswork out of how far to move anything from the edge. It's so pretty with the gold edge. And then we're going to add the greeting. And just hang it off the edge just a little bit. I'll just make sure it's straight. Okay. All right, so the last thing I'm going to do is add a little bow. This is the crinkled seam binding ribbon. I use this ribbon a lot just because I can color it with Stampin' Blends and it looks really pretty. So this is my little scrap piece so that my surface is clean. So I'm going to color it with the dark Highland Heather. And come over to the other side. You know what? It would probably be good. I had a bunch of these extra punched shapes, so I'm going to use another one to keep my fingers from going purple. This dries pretty quickly, but if you touch it right away, you might get a little bit of an inky finger. So it probably needs just about a minute to dry completely. So I'll just come to the back and see if there's anything that looks white that needs to flip it over. Okay. It's so pretty. This ribbon is really quite delicate. Just needs a moment to dry. Probably should have done that earlier, but. So now we need some elevator music. I don't know, do they still have elevator music? Because everyone has phones these days to keep themselves entertained, right? So I'll just use a mini glue dot. I'll stick my knot right on the glue dot. And I'm gonna, okay, it's still a little wet, the alcohol. So it's not sticking quite as nicely as it normally would. Okay, I'm gonna grab my glue dot and stick it where I want it on my card. There we go. And then I'll stick my bow into it. Just kind of arrange it a little bit. There we go. And there is the card. So, okay, so this design works really fabulous with lots of different papers. So I took a very simplistic approach because, see, both of these are different, but they're still, both look really nice, right? So one other card, I did do another card earlier, but I decided I wanted to, you know, branch out and do something a little different. So this one is with the, I think it's called Hydrangea Haven paper. Let me grab my paper before I lie to you. No, it's called Hydrangea Hill. So it's really pretty hydrangea paper. So, and what I did with this one, I kind of experimented with my gold foil sheet. The measurements were all the same, but I ran this through with the hammered metal embossing folder because the original card, I think they used the gold leafing flakes and they added it around the edge of the cardstock. Well, I wanted to kind of mimic that look. So I thought by using the hammered metal, it would create that look. But then when I got to this card, I kind of wanted just a cleaner look for the gold, so I didn't do the embossing, the secondary embossing on the gold. But you can see how easy this card would like translate, the sketch would translate to many different types of paper very, very easily. The gold border looks nice with many papers because it's a metallic, so it goes with almost everything. So I hope you have fun with this week's sketch because you can use paper or you can stamp something too. I mean, it's a really, I really like this layout a lot, a lot. Okay, let me come back to you. Hello, hello. Okay, I am going to say hello to all of you. Hello, Dee and Mary, and Janine, and Karen, and Elizabeth, and Ellie. Good morning, good morning. And good morning. We have two Marys, so I have to say hello to two Marys. And Margarita, buenos dias. Hello, Nalita. And Cindy. Lots. My card was very simple today, but I like having simple cards too because we don't always need to go crazy with our cards, right? A simple, pretty card is really nice too. Karen liked the coloring on the card. Thank you, Karen. You know, the nice thing about this, and I think, you know what, I don't know if I did one in light and one in dark. I may have. But the shading on the flower makes it very easy. You don't really have to do anything. You don't have to do any shading yourself. It just naturally shades it for you. So that paper is really great for that. Dee says that she uses the Peaceful Moments stamp set often too. It's got really good greetings, right? I remember when I first started Stampin' Up, I had a few, probably 2 key greeting sets that I used, and I was so crushed when they retired because they were such good sets, right? So, as time goes on, we fall in love with other sets, but, once we have a good greeting set, we just want to use it over and over, right? Thank you, Cindy. I'm glad you liked the card. And Janine said the Gorgeous Grape is such a beautiful shade. You know what? I love our purples right now. I love Highland Heather. I love Gorgeous Grape. And I'm lamenting our Purple Posy that's retiring right now because that was also a really nice shade to use with our darker shades. So that will be sad to lose that one. I really actually wanted to almost do a Purple Posy card base, but that's retiring, and I'm not even sure if that cardstock is sold out yet. Good morning, Teresa and Deborah. Dee says, I love the gold foil in the background. It really makes the flowers pop with a textured purple backing paper. Yeah, it does. And you know what? That's not even my doing. That was in the original card. They had that gold on the edge, and so I just went with it. So I think the nice thing about this is you can really sub out with other paper and your cards will look beautiful pretty much with whatever you use, just subbing things out. Good morning, Elizabeth and Erica. I'm so glad you like the card. Karen said, such a gorgeous, simple card. Thank you. Do you like the way I textured the gold foil on the hydrangea card? Yeah, very simple, easy to do. Oh, so Dee asked, did I emboss the blue hydrangea on the second card? So no, it's the paper. I just used the paper. I didn't add a flower. In the original card, there was an extra flower that they put behind the paper, and I did do that. I actually grabbed a floral. I die cut it, and I stuck it underneath, and I didn't like it. It was just too much because the paper was so pretty, and I was like, I don't need anything else. So I just left it, and it worked. So it's interesting how 3-dimensional art paper can look, even though it's just a flat piece of paper. Mary said you hadn't used Purple Posy until you got the hydrangea paper. Really? I love the Purple Posy paper. I think, sadly, Purple Posy, because we didn't have, they could never get the formulation of the ink pad right. We never really had, I don't think it got used as widely as probably it should. I really like the lighter colors often for card bases. Instead of using a basic white card base, I like soft sea foam. I really liked the Purple Posy. Do we have another light one? Remember when we had Pink Pirouette or Pirouette Pink? I liked those light colors for card bases because they were just light enough that they weren't white, but they were just, they added a little bit of color. I love those. It's always funny or interesting to hear how people use different colors and don't use different colors that you love, right? You probably thought, wow, she used Purple Posy. Yeah, interesting. We all are attracted to different colors. Good morning, Alice, and thank you for sharing. Well, so I hope you go ahead and post your cards on our Casing Tuesday group. The link is down below, and you can become a member too if you click below and ask to join. If you love anything that you saw today, any of the supplies, and you want to get them, Just click on over. There's a link down below to my blog post, and it has a supply list over there. And if you spend $50 with me in April, I'm going to be sending you some in color gems next month. These are the new gems that are in the new catalog. I'll order them as soon as they are available. And I'll be sending those to people who order from me, $50 or more in April. And then, of course, I always give you a free tutorial if you order at least $15 with me. So you'll also get that, and I will email you when I see your order come through. But if for some reason you don't get an email from me, please email me, because guess what? Email is not 100%. Sometimes I end up in people's spam folders, and sometimes depending on your provider, they now have like ways of blocking emails. And if my email looks like spam to some email provider, they'll just block me and you'll never ever even get my email. So I try and get back to my customers and team within 24 hours. So if you do not hear from me, please poke me with an email again and see if you can get a hold of me, because I always email back within 24 hours. So look for me in your spam folder too, if you don't see that. Okay, the other thing that's going on today is the clearance rack. There are a bunch of new deals over there, so if you haven't gone to check that out already, go ahead. There may be something that you want at a really good price, so don't forget to check that out. All right, I will be here on Friday. Actually, I'll be over on my YouTube channel at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard, and I'll be doing either a 3D or a fancy fold card for you. And then on Saturday, I will send out a project sheet. And so if you want to join me, make sure you head over to my YouTube channel on Friday to join me for that video. Let me see, a couple more comments came in. Mary says, I was always a Regals girl, but it's funny how the virus found me reaching for the brights. Oh, that's such a good idea, like to change colors, to uplift you. I love that. Dee says, using the light papers for card bases is a great tip. I often use the dark ones like Blackberry Bliss or Mary Malone for sympathy cards, or masculine birthday cards to give it a more serious effect. That is true. Like, it can affect the mood of a card. I have gone through stages. I used to use dark card bases a lot, and now I gravitate towards lighter card bases. I think, we all go through stages in our art creating and our card. We used to distress all the edges of our cards, right, and make them look all ragged and stuff. And then we used to like pierce the edges, and now we do die cuts and embossing fold. It's like we've gone through all these different kinds of trends and stuff. All right, guys. Well, I will let you go, and I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I hope to see you on Friday. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.